All right, I'd like to welcome everyone, or reconvene the November 13th, 2023 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. I'll do introductions. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President and fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Our clerks are Jennifer Walraven and Brandy Wilson, and Brett Bacon from Soil and Water and Brett Bergerford from the Engineers Office are here as well. I'll read through the instructions on what we're going to do today. Real quick, I'd like to welcome everyone to the viewing for the consideration of the Moore number 361 watershed drainage improvement petition. There's a sign-in sheet circulating the room. We ask that you please sign the sheet to indicate your attendance. Today's viewing of the proposed improvement area is taking place at the office of the Board of County Commissioners with the use of video technology. A video will be available to gain an oversight and overview of the project limits and specific areas, which we'll see in a moment. No testimony, this is important, no testimony or decisions are made here at the viewing. This is a way for the board to become familiar with the area again. No testimony or decisions. In other words, you can't speak against or for the petition. This is just to point out issues that arise or familiarize us with the area. The first hearing on the petition is scheduled for Monday, January 29th, 2024 at 10 a.m. At the hearing, we'll hear a report from the engineer's office on the petition, and that is also the time for landowner testimony for or against the petition. So we'll have that testimony again on the first chance, January 29th of next year. When it's time for landowners to point out the drainage concerns in the area, we'll work our way through the participants. As a reminder, this is not the time for testimony. I will now turn the proceeding over to Brett Bacon from the Soil and Water Conservation District.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Deputy Administrator, Soil and Water. We will start the video where it says start on the map, and we'll be flying in a easterly to westerly direction. And I'll point out a few landmarks along the way.
Oh, yeah.
Was this taken on the same date as the other one?
Yes, October 18th. Following generally an open channel at this point, obscured by the trees. And we're making a turn here to the northwest, coming up to State Route 745. This is more or less following the path of the existing subsurface drain tile, known historically as the Moore number 361. I'm not sure why it has two numbers. We're going to turn, we're following existing grassed waterway. And you can see on the map, I've marked grass waterway end. That would be that point right there. And the path is going to wind a little bit. Not evident in the video, but there is some roll and topography to this ground. That's why you see it turning like that. Off to our right there, that's a sinkhole in the landscape. Don't know that it's having any effect on the drainage of the area, but it is a geologic feature.
That's a sinkhole there, Brett.
That's a blowout.
You're a blowout, okay.
Yeah, sinkhole would actually be a hole in the rock that water is entering the rock, bedrock. Following or paralleling the tree line right here. And then we're gonna turn. You can see a little bit of a gully maybe forming there. And we're gonna pass through the first spot I've got marked tree line, cutting the corner of the next field. Didn't notice a whole lot of evidence of breakdowns in the system as we got to the west here. Next tree line and then into another grassed waterway. And we're just going to follow this grassed waterway to the top of the watershed, or not the top of the watershed, but the top of the system. Any questions?
Have none.
No.
I didn't see, I know it's dry, it's October, and it's been dry and so on, so I didn't really see any evidence of flooding or, many blowouts or anything.
Let me get the video back up here. So this petition is a little unique in that we did not have an informational meeting for this project. And I have, and believe there were 4 or 5 different properties that have signed the petition, and I have only had contact with one of them, so I can only speak to the concerns that have been expressed to me regarding that property. Let me get to the right spot in the video. All right, okay. Oh, perfect. So I know there's a road culvert here, and this property owner, met with them back in the, I believe, spring of this past year of '23. And the concern expressed at the time dealt with the surface drainage that flows from the west through the culvert down through this property. It did not have permission to walk downstream, so I don't know, what the tile outlet condition is, whether it's not functioning properly, what state it is in. There is I'll say a generally lack of defined surface drainage shape across that property. So I believe the flows come through the culvert and cross that property in a spread out, kind of a wide and shallow pattern rather than a concentrated flow. And I think that is at least that property owner's desires to have that taken a look at and maybe channelize that more, get it flowing in a more direct path. We would once the appeal window has expired 21 days from today's date, we will be reaching out to those other property owners that signed the petition to see what their concerns are and whether there are things that need to be built into the potential design of a project.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Brett, anything else? Okay, we will open it up for comments from the individuals in the watershed who want to point something out. Again, not testimony, but if you want to point out something about the area, I'll invite you up to the podium and you'll identify yourself and your address, please.
Yeah, my name is Marty Zilka, and I'm a neighbor of Vanessa and Jose. And that drainage ditch, initially when they built the house, that ditch was fully open. Now it's probably got about 6 inches of area. There's been so much fill dirt, not fill, but sediment, that it's filled in their backyard. And when water comes, it's almost going to flood their lower level. So that's what the concern is. And I videotaped that, so someone has it. And it got plugged up so much that at one time, the water was coming over the road, and it pushed all these stones for that drainage ditch, pushed them out into their yard, and they had to rebuild that. So if there's a solution, you got to prevent all that sediment from coming back in, or else it's just going to happen again. So I don't know what the solution is, but they're concerned about flooding their lower level because of that water.
Right. We have experts who are very good at figuring out the solutions.
Okay, we'll leave it up to you.
We're not the experts. We rely on the experts who really know the topography and how to do water maintenance.
And you'll have an opportunity to go in greater detail
Yeah,
at the
at
first
the
hearing.
first hearing in January. Okay, thank you. Others who want to point something out, again, don't have to, but certainly welcome to. Okay. You could identify yourself and your address, please?
My name is Michelle Bear, and property owner of 5885 Dublin. And first of all, thank you very much for having this particular hearing. Also a neighbor of Jose and Anessa, but we have noticed since we've owned the property that water has started to come down onto our area as well. It's starting to erode the area that actually we own to the actual waterway, and we're starting to see erosion there that was never there previously in the last 5 to 7 years. You know, whether it is, I have heard, obviously we're not up at the roadway, that the water is coming up over top of the roadway from the farmland and then down. Now, obviously, it has to go somewhere, so hopefully we can resolve this and ensure that, you know, there's no more erosion happening as it hasn't for a number of years. So,
Okay.
do you have any questions?
Really, today, just your opportunity to point out
Yeah,
things that we
just-
need to be aware of before the first hearing.
Okay.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Others who want to speak, just come on up. If you could identify yourself and your address, please.
Hi, my name's Walter Cole, and how y'all doing? Thanks for coming.
Good.
Um,
Your address?
I'm at 6021 Dublin, so I get a little nervous.
No need to be nervous.
Thank you. I've lived in my house since 1999. I'm a couple properties over. I'm the brick guy with all the junk. I cut people's yards. I don't know that I can afford this, number one. And it's like I had my property looked at, and, you know, water runs downhill, right? So on my house, it kind of drains away. And I had that looked at. So to me, that's, I don't know if this fellow's in here, I don't mean any offense, but like, that's on him, or that should be in my...
We're getting into testimony.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're just supposed to point out
Okay.
things about the area that you
Yeah,
want
it's
us to
just
see.
caused me a lot of stress. I don't know, I'd be able to afford it. But I'm familiar with this person, but I just don't understand. Is this normal that, like, it would be thrown on me, or wouldn't it either be on him, or would it be on the whole county? That would be, you know, I would either pay for it, or we all would, but to stick it on me when I'm not asking for it,
Yeah,
that's my concern.
again, You're getting into testimony.
Okay, I'll be quiet. What did I do?
But you're commenting on affordability and what we're
Yeah,
actually.
well, never mind that, then just,
Yeah.
I just don't know, could I ask, is it normal to have it go on 20 property people, or is that like a new thing? Because I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I guess, is
I
that
think
a
Brett
fair-
could explain the process to
Okay,
you.
I'm going to sit down if that's okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, the ORC 6131 petition process is a tool that's available to landowners throughout the state of Ohio, is commonly used by landowners in Delaware County to attempt to solve drainage problems that might require work off their property. State law dictates that any property that has use of an improvement constructed under this process and use and benefit are used interchangeably in the law, shares in the cost of construction and maintenance to some degree. To what degree that cost would be for a particular property is not determined until we would get to the second or final hearing, which would be after we have gone through our engineering design, and that doesn't come until after we've gotten through the first hearing. We do look at the size of a property, the amount of ground that's contributing drainage to the improvement, the percentage of the project that a property would use or drain through, and then the land use of those properties. So all those factors will go into determining the schedule of assessments. But if it is determined that water exits a property and eventually runs through an improvement constructed under 6131 through a petition project, that property is we are directed by the state law to assign that property a share of the construction and maintenance costs of a project.
Yeah, and then how many, Brett, how many petitions do you manage now? It's over 600, isn't it? I mean, there's,
We currently have 622, I think, on maintenance, drainage maintenance at the moment, and that does not include the 28? 24? Does that include the one that was just, okay. Dan says 24, I'm gonna trust his number. 24 active petition projects that would be anywhere from construction being imminent to these projects where we've just started down the road.
yep. Yeah, I think that's an important perspective. Again, this is very, very common in Delaware County, you know, and probably not nearly as common in most counties.
Yeah, I think we are one of the biggest in the state as far as the size of our drainage maintenance program and our drainage petition project program. We do typically conduct an informational meeting. I understand the lack of awareness about this law and this process. It is not something that our average citizen deals with on a daily basis. Obviously, Dan and Rebecca and I, it's kind of old hat to at this point. We've done so many of them, but I certainly understand why a landowner might not have that understanding that we do. The petitioners in this case chose to move forward, and that's certainly their right, and they don't have to take us up on that, but that is certainly helps alleviate some of the questions that we're hearing.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Brett. Others? Anybody else who wants to point out something about the watershed, concerns, features, et cetera? Okay. Last chance, last call. All right. We will close this hearing. So we will, again, you're available to, the first hearing will be on Monday, January 29, 2024, at 10 a.m. in this location. So you'll hear from.
Mr. Walter, just your comment, you said you're feeling stressed. The process is the process, and I would not worry about it, don't let it ruin your holidays. January 29th, we'll have the first hearing, followed by second, perhaps. That'd be determined at the first.
And Brett and Rebecca, not Dan after next week, Dan's leaving us, but feel free to reach out to them. They'll sit down with you one-on-one. They know it extremely well. They know the process, you know, and so on, so they can. Yeah, and most people haven't, quite honestly. Very, very, not unusual.
Yeah, I would encourage any landowner that has questions. We do have a frequently asked question sheet that I believe is out on, and I think that went out of the mailing as
Yes,
well,
it was
correct, Jennifer?
part of the mailing as well.
So we've developed that frequently asked question sheet to try to help landowners better understand the project. That sheet would also direct them to our website, where we have a wealth of information, not only about this project, but about, you know, the petition process in general, and our contact information is on there, and please reach out to us. That's why we're there.
Right. Yeah, I would just echo that. Commissioner Merrill raised a good point. A lot of information, a lot of good people willing to, you know, to help you understand it, because it is complicated. And most people don't know about it. So, okay, so the hearing is closed, Jennifer? Nothing
Yeah,
else?
the hearing is closed. We
So